Before moving to Los Angeles, I was heavily involved in the National Urban League movement. I was even president of the Urban League Young Professionals in New Orleans for 2 years before I made the leap to Los Angeles. I'm very passionate about civil rights. I'm very passionate about social action. I just wanted to talk about the importance of voting. I understand that a lot of people are disheartened by things that are going on in the country, and they're in a space where they don't want to vote for the lesser of two evils. I'm speaking very specifically as a Black American. Imagine what our ancestors who fought for our right to vote had to choose between. Think about our grandparents or great-grandparents living in Mississippi, Arkansas, Georgia, Louisiana in the 60s, right after they got the right to vote. Everyone who they voted for hated them. So today we may feel like we have to choose between the lesser of two evils. Our ancestors had to choose between the lesser of two devils, but they persisted. A thing that I realized and learned from actively being a foot soldier in civil rights is that you have to hold people accountable. You have to realize what other communities are doing. Once you vote, you are a constituent. Once you vote, you have the ability to hold the people who are representing you accountable. Do you not know how many people write letters, go to the Capitol Hill, call? I mean, I'm in a travel group where people are willing to call their senator to get their passport expedited, but y'all aren't willing to call to advocate for yourselves. It's more than just going into a booth and voting. It's more than voting every 4 years. You have to vote every year on everything. Something that happened during my presidency was the census. We had to educate people that if you do not do the census, then you do not get funding in your neighborhood for Head Start. You do not get funding in your neighborhood for social services. Say you want a bus stop or an extra train stop in your vicinity. If you don't vote, they don't know you exist, and they don't know that there are a bunch of people in that area that would be willing to take a bus or take a train. Voting is about much more than the quote-unquote evil people that are running. It's about helping your life become easier. I am definitely not interested in telling you who to vote for. But did my fraternity brother John Lewis get hit over his head for your right to choose? That was very popular in 2016, the right to choose, which we found out was bots. But no, he and others voted for your right to vote. I personally feel we are very complacent right now. We have a history where in Reconstruction, our ancestors were born slaves and within a few years became senators. Do you not understand how miraculous that is? Do you not understand how, because of that, systems were put in place? Once we got the right to vote, they created all these systems to keep us from voting. Even after we got the right to vote, we still died. We still were prevented. We don't know our history. If you've seen the video where the Stanford and Harvard students are taking a voting test that they would do in Louisiana, Mississippi, and all those states, it was a test that was literally impossible to pass on purpose. And now you're preventing yourself because you're disheartened by people who aren't perfect. I really hope you are. You will not make change from voting one time. You will not make change from voting 10 times. We cannot say that voting does not work if there is not a persistent and consistent voting of a majority of our people over a 5 to 10 year period, and additionally holding them accountable. So you cannot posit that voting does not work when you voted twice in your life and you're 33. Yes, voting doesn't work because you don't vote. I really don't have any thoughts on who you vote for, because mostly what you need to be voting for is your judges, your senators, your House of Representatives, your school board, your city council, the amendments that are passed, the laws that are passed. You need to be doing research. For me personally, knowing all our history is just very unfortunate for us to be so complacent. If you do not want to vote, what alternative are you doing? If there is a viable alternative that you are doing to voting, that you are actively doing, not saying that you're not voting and in the comment section telling other people not to vote when you're not doing something as an alternative to get the things that you want. If there is a viable alternative, viable, not conspiracy theory, not based in a lack of knowledge, communicate the viable alternative to people. And if you still don't want to vote, that is fine. But you will be a receiver of your consequences every day and every year. And I'm not talking about any particular position that is being voted on. I'm talking about from the prince to the pauper. Your life will be affected by what you choose not to do. If it didn't mean anything, why are they still trying to prevent us from doing it? Why are they taking people off the rolls in Georgia? Why are they moving polling sites to make it so that it's not in your neighborhood? You have to think about these things. If it didn't mean anything, they would leave us alone. I hope that this message encouraged you, and it encouraged at least one person to get out to vote. Peace.